Okay, now we're recording, so start being funny.
Yep. I'm sure this sounds great over the actual music that's playing for the intro of the podcast.
Good day, everybody. Welcome to Two Guys Talking About Lettuce. My name is Greg Benson.
My name is Craig Benzine. You seem really loud. Maybe it's just the volume on my computer.
It's also the volume coming from my mouth.
You should. Oh, can you turn that down?
Yeah, I have extra loud volume. It's just to start off the show. You know, you gotta start it off with a bang. If you don't start off with a lot of energy, people see what they say is on podcasts. People give you exactly 4.5 seconds, and then if you've lost their attention, they're gone in 4.5 seconds.
Did you just make that statistic up?
No. I read it on whitehouse.gov. They did this whole study on podcast attention span.
So this is a government-funded study.
Yeah. They spent $6.3 billion on that.
Why do they care? Why does the government care about this?
They called three guys and they go like, how long do you listen to a podcast before you lose interest? And the average was 4.5 seconds.
Wow, three guys. Who are these guys? Which guys are
three random guys in Kansas.
Okay. So these guys, did they just pick out of the phone book?
No, they're just a big fan of the band Kansas, so they wanted to call them up and just say how long they listen to podcasts.
So the government was fans of Kansas.
Yes.
So they called three random guys in the state of Kansas.
No. They called three members of the band Kansas. You know, who did Dust in the Wind, Carry On My Wayward Son.
I'm aware of them.
And Nothing Else.
Yes.
Yeah.
They didn't need to do anything else.
No, you get two hits and then you're done.
I mean, as a part-time songwriter myself, listening to Carry On My Wayward Son, it sounds like that took about 5 years to write, I think.
I mean, I feel like Kansas is an interesting band because I feel like Carry On Wayward Son is just a phenomenal song. And then you're like, well, where are the rest of their phenomenal songs?
Yeah, well, do you hear the guitar in that? Can you play guitar, Greg?
Oh yeah, sure. Not well though. I can play a couple of chords.
The guitar in that song is so bonkers. I had an aneurysm the first time I heard it.
Oh my gosh! Well, I would recommend that people not listen to that song. Then I don't want to encourage aneurysms.
Okay, that's something I like about you. You're so anti-aneurysm.
I really am. By the way, can we address how your microphone sounds on this episode? It sounds different.
Nah. Anyway, no. Okay, I'm actually in Kentucky right now, and all microphones sound like this in Kentucky.
I was going to say that this is the way that microphones sound in Kentucky.
I knew you were going to say that, so that's why I got there first.
No, you. I think sometimes I feel like you and I are the same person. I mean, our names are so similar anyway.
Similar, yes.
Similar. They are similar.
They are. We do share a bit of humor style. I guess. You know what? I realized. I don't know if I ever told you this. I don't know if anyone else has ever told you this.
What's that, Craig?
But sometimes mannerismly speaking, you remind me of Paul Rudd.
Oh, interesting. You know,
anyone ever told you that?
Well, my wife has told me that because that's her celebrity crush. It's Paul Rudd.
Oh,
I mean, he is the sexiest man on earth according to People magazine.
Yeah, I mean that aspect, not at all. I don't get that from you at all.
Oh.
But that right there, the facial expressions you're doing right there.
Yeah.
Oh wait, Paul Rudd.
You know,
Rudd,
listen, I'd like to say that this podcast has some of the best facial expressions of any podcast, and that's I feel like that's why people listen.
I'm glad we could all come here and share in this facial expression that Greg just made. And tell me what you guys think. Look at Greg right now while you're listening to this podcast. Look at his face. Really focus on his face. And are you typing while I'm talking?
Yeah, I am typing. Yeah, I'm doing some typing. I got typing to do. I'm just taking care of some work.
Doing a little moonlighting right now?
Yeah, I'm just doing a little work here. You don't mind me.
Okay. All right. Okay, cool. You keep working. So just focus on his face. And does that not remind you of Paul Rudd? It's just kind of in the mannerisms. It's the way he his facial expressions. You know, can you see it? Okay, did you get work done? Are you doing okay?
No, I had to just schedule a couple of doctor's appointments.
A couple of doctor's appointments. Are you?
Not for me. Not for. It's just my part-time job is to schedule doctor's appointments for the elderly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's.
Dolores Hammersham needed to see a doctor. Her elbow's been hurting her, and she's afraid that she may have fractured her ulna.
Well, why does she go to you for that? Why not just call a doctor directly?
Well, I mean, don't tell them that because I'm making a lot of money off of this job.
It doesn't sound very legal, Greg. It just doesn't.
What do they know about legal? Listen, you're talking about people who are in their last decade or so of life. Like they're not concerned with the legalities. Okay, listen. Listen. This podcast is called Two Guys Talking About Lettuce, and I have prepared today's lettuce portion of our show. And the way that I did it was I Googled just now. That's what I was typing. It's not because of that job. I made that job up. I Googled.
Oh, that wasn't real. Greg, you're lying to me?
I Googled weird fact about lettuce. But I'll be honest with you, I misspelled it. It was a typo because I think you were busy. You were talking and you distracted me. And I typed in a weird fact about lettuce with a K. And the first thing that came up is, can cats eat lettuce?
I have always wondered that, actually.
Literally the first thing came up is, can cats eat lettuce with a K? And it says, in short, cats may consume lettuce as a food. It doesn't say anything about lettuce.
Oh.
But
that's kind of that's disappointing that the person who answered that kind of ignored the question and decided to take it in their own direction. Yeah. Also, apparently, the next thing that comes up is the lettuce hashtag on Instagram, and also romaine lettuce on the DIY show. So I did come up with, at least I know that I'm not the only person who typoed the word lettuce and it came out lettuce. Well, the second example you gave there, that for a cooking show, I think that wasn't an accident, but lettuce hashtag, I'm curious what that is.
Let me just see lettuce hashtag on Instagram. Apparently there are 44 posts that have the hashtag lettuce on Instagram. Yes, there are. Well, it says right now 43. So I guess apparently one person corrected. But they're all, and I got to say, this is weird. They're all pictures of lettuce, but they have the hashtag lettuce. And if you guys don't believe me, get on Instagram and look for the hashtag lettuce, and you shall see.
You know, that's a product of the K being right next to the L on the keyboard. I'm thinking.
Man, I never noticed that before.
You never noticed?
I don't really study the keyboard.
Do you do the hunt and peck method of typing? A
little bit, yeah. I mean, that's the way they taught it to me when I took a typing class back in the 8th grade. I took a typing class, and they're like, just hunt and peck. It's easier.
So that was the whole class then? That was just
yeah. It was a 5-minute class.
But it was in 8th grade.
Yeah, so eighth grade. So I got a credit for it.
But then you'd have to do it for like a whole semester, right?
Well, the rest of it was just piano.
Oh, so this doesn't sound like this was a typing class at all. It sounds like you had to type something, and your piano teacher told you to just hunt and peck. You know,
now that I think about it, he was a piano teacher, and he was a horrible typist. So I guess you have a point. I didn't really think about that. Okay, all right. Here is our lettuce fact for the day. Here we go. Okay. Lettuce fact for the day.
I got more though.
No. We
don't have to frame.
No. Once we do this, we are done with the lettuce section of this podcast.
Wow.
People don't tune into this podcast to actually hear us talk about lettuce.
Greg, don't say that. Don't say that. That's not true.
I said it.
Don't say it again. Just that one time is fine, but don't say it again.
All right.
Yeah. What's the lettuce fact, please?
Lettuce was a symbol of fertility in ancient Egypt.
Wow.
Okay, that's the end of the lettuce portion of our podcast. We hope that you enjoyed it, and we hope that you enjoyed
that fact was very interesting, but it was interesting when I said it last episode. Yeah.
Well, listen, I don't remember. Listen, my life is so full of things. I can't remember all the things we talked about.
Well, I don't see a point in continuing to talk, actually.
No, it's a good thing to have a friend with a really bad memory, because then you'll never run out of things to talk about.
But I will, because I will get bored of saying the same things over
Also,
and over.
let me mention this also. Did you know that lettuce was a symbol of fertility
No.
in ancient Egypt?
I didn't know that, Greg. Please tell me more. Elaborate.
Well, back in ancient Egypt, that's Egypt a long, long time ago. Apparently, one of the symbols of fertility was lettuce.
You're just saying the same fact in a different way now.
I don't know about that.
Can you elaborate more? Can you say more information about it?
In ancient Egypt, they had a hashtag which was Ketis, and they did that just to symbolize the fertility.
Oh, is that because K was like right next to the L on their keyboard?
No. In ancient Egypt, they didn't have the letter L.
Really?
Not a lot of people know that.
Okay.
Yeah. Like if someone's name was Larry, they'd be like, "Hey, what's up, Carrie?" Because they did substitute a K instead.
But his name was Larry. Was he Egyptian?
Yeah. Larry the Egyptian. They called him Larry the Egyptian.
But okay, but I thought they called him Carrie the Egyptian.
Well, no, I mean later. Later they referred to him as Larry the Egyptian.
So who named him Larry if they don't have L in their language?
His mother Kuiz.
His mother Kuiz named him. Why wouldn't she name him Carrie then?
Well, her actual name was Louise, but she just didn't know how to say it correctly.
Well, who named her Louise?
Her.
Was she from Egypt? Was she from somewhere else?
No, she was from Spain. She was Spanish.
Oh, okay.
In Spain, listen, this is very complicated.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say, in Spain, her name was Louise. She moved to Egypt in the ancient days, and she's like, "Oh, it's so ancient." And she's like, "Look around at Egypt. It's so ancient."
You mean cook around at Egypt?
She's like, "They haven't even built any pyramids here yet." That's how ancient it was.
Wow.
She'd look around. She go. This country is so pyramidless.
Wow. Okay.
And it was her idea. It was. If you look back at the history books, Kuiz had the idea to build the pyramids.
Wait, Kuiz did it?
Yeah. She had the idea. She didn't have the manpower because she was a lady. She had lady power.
Uh-huh.
How come they don't say lady power?
I think they could just, if they're talking about the power of something, they could just call it the power. They don't have to gender it.
Yeah, but the word manpower already exists, so why don't we have lady power? That's all I'm saying. I mean,
I bet if Google lady power, I bet it'll come up. I bet people do use that. Or maybe woman power? I don't know.
Okay, I tell you what, I didn't Google lady power, I Googled Katie power with a K. Okay, and instead it's showing results for Paddy Power. Paddy Power is apparently a sports betting site where you can do online betting and odds.
I'm glad we figured that out. Okay.
Yeah. So, by the way, this is sponsored by PaddyPower.com. Thank you so much, Paddy Power. The CEO is Peter Jackson, apparently. I wonder if that's the same Peter Jackson who made The Lord of the Rings.
That was the sponsor of this. You're telling me this whole conversation was a lead up to the sponsor?
Exactly. They're like, here's how you find us. You misspell the name when you search for Lady Power. Write in Katie Power.
So
I don't know.
I
don't know why Googling the word Katie Power with a K with one would come up with Paddy Power. I don't like. Listen, by the way, I want to say I'm against online gambling.
Okay. Good to know. Listen, I got some more news for you, Greg.
Let's hear it.
This is just news. This isn't lettuce news because we already did the lettuce portion of the.
Okay. But we could somehow tie it together with Ketis, I'm sure.
Okay. A St. Petersburg woman was charged with a felony battery after using a bag of lettuce during a fight Saturday morning, according to deputies. The Pinellas County Sheriff's Office said Barbie Renee Killup, 51, went to a man's house on San Fernando Boulevard at around 2:37 a.m.
That's right in my neighborhood on San Fernando Boulevard. That's in Los Angeles.
No, it's St. Petersburg, Florida.
I don't know about that.
And began. Oh, you don't know? So you're
I don't know.
Skeptical. You're skeptical of that.
I mean,
it's
a street near me in the valley.
Okay. You know, other streets can have the same name in different
I don't know
places.
about that.
So, like, is there only one Main Street?
I don't believe in Main Street.
So you don't think Main Streets exist?
I don't believe it exists.
Typical coastal elite. You're living in LA. It's so big we don't even have a Main Street.
No, because where would you put it? Where would you put a Main Street in LA?
That's true. I agree with you.
Is that the end? Is that the end of the story?
More.
She just went to a guy's house
and she began yelling at him to get out of the home. When the man told her to shut up, Killip threw a bag of lettuce at the man, hitting him in the chest, according to deputies. That's the story.
You never want to hit a man in the chest with a bag of lettuce. I mean,
Why is that?
That is the last thing that you want to do.
Why is that? And is it the last thing? When you say the last thing you want to do, that kind of implies that you want to do it.
Yeah. If you have a list of things that you want to do, make sure that that's the last thing.
Why is that? Why?
You do because then it's nap time. You do that. Okay. You do that. That's the last thing. You take a nice nap.
Why is that? Why is that the thing that has to precede the nap? And then also, do you go home after you throw the bag of lettuce at a man?
Of course you do. You're not going to just like nap on the guy's lawn. You're not going to like go to somebody's house and take a nap on their lawn after you throw lettuce at their chest. Now you're being stupid. What's
Well, then it's not the last thing you do. You have to go home.
I'm not counting that. It's like when you abbreviate and you leave out. You don't abbreviate, and when you do, what do you call it? When you say
abbreviation?
Letters, yeah, an abbreviation. It's like when you do that. Hey, listen. All I'm saying is, if you have a list of things to do and throw a bag of lettuce at a man's chest is on that list, make sure that's the last thing you do, because when you do it, it's going to make you sleepy and you're going to want to go home and take a nap after it. That's all I'm saying. Why do you have to argue about everything?
I'm just trying to clarify. So you're just throwing, you just say the act of throwing a thing that's not even that heavy, I assume. That makes you sleepy?
What you're doing is you're trying to add new facts, and these things that you're adding don't make as much sense. What I'm saying is that if you throw a bag of lettuce at a man's chest, it's all those things. It's the bag, it's the lettuce, it's the man, it's the chest. It's all those things. You're going to get sleepy.
Yeah, you see, you're not adding anything. You just listed the key points of the act.
Well, those are words.
Lettuce.
I listed
the key
four
words.
of the words that were used.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and why is throwing that? Do you need maybe some physical therapy? I think just like
you can also bet on horse racing at paddypower.com.
Great.
Sorry,
other news,
I had to do that. Also, they wouldn't pay us the $6.3 million.
Oh, we got 6.3.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, how much of that do we see ultimately? That 6.3.
I think $11.29.
So we're actually making some money.
We are making I don't know how it worked out, but we do make $11.29. So Bet's Burgers. There's a couple of burgers for us. No fries. Just a couple of good burgers.
Bet's Burgers?
What's that?
Bet's Burgers?
Bet's Burgers? If they had a place called Bet's Burgers, I bet people would go there. If you could bet on horses and eat a burger at the same time. Yeah. I mean, I think you and I are coming up with like a new business that'll do really well.
Sure, but I thought you said Bet's Burgers, but you didn't say that. That's not what you said?
I didn't say that, but I mean, now that you say it, it sounds really good. So maybe maybe we should start a place called Bet's Burgers.
Let's not just jump on a thing I miss here and just think it's a great idea immediately.
Listen, you never know if it's going to work out until you invest a few years and a couple $1 million trying to create a business. We'll open our first location in Columbia, South Carolina, and we'll just see how it goes.
Why Columbia, South Carolina?
You can't ask why about everything. You either commit to the business or you don't.
Is there a lot of gambling in Columbia?
I don't know. I didn't do research. I'm just saying we're going to open the first one there. Why is it a problem? Why can't we open a Bet's Burgers in Columbia, South Carolina without you making a big deal over it?
I mean, I don't live near there. You don't live near there. I don't. In fact, that's probably the farthest away in the United States from both of us.
Don't you think that they want to eat burgers and bet on horse racing?
I mean, that sounds fine, and that probably exists. I think you could do that in a lot of places already, I think.
All right, I'm just saying. I don't know. I just don't know why it's a big deal. I mean, look, either you want to go into business with me with Bet's Burgers, or you don't.
I don't, actually. I really don't. So.
Oh, good. Good.
Okay, in other news.
This is the best This is the best podcast.
Oh, this is the portion of the podcast where Greg says this is the best podcast.
Yeah. And it's also the portion where it's time for us to do our exclusive bonus talking for our Patreon listeners. This is a special section you can only hear on Patreon, and it begins right now.
This portion of Two Guys Talking About Lettuce has been edited out for your listening inconvenience. If you wish to hear the complete, unedited version with the bonus talking, be sure to visit patreon.com/2guystalkingaboutlettuce. And now, back to the edited, not as good version of the podcast.
And that ends the special bonus talking portion. And I got to tell you something. It was really good, folks. If you didn't hear it, you missed. We talked about, and I'm not even going to tell you what sort of surgery, but we talked about a surgery, an intimate surgery.
And an injury.
Yeah.
An injury as well.
Yeah, all sorts of things. It was
a couple of injuries, actually.
It was good stuff. I'm really sorry that you guys missed it, but
I would think. I mean, yeah, I would say that if you hear it, it'll probably make your life better.
Oh, without a doubt. Mm-hmm. And how can they hear it, Craig?
If they go to patreon.com/two guys talking about lettuce, not two guys talking about Kettis.
No, that's a different podcast altogether.
Yes. Also done by us, though.
Yeah, if they go there and they pay $3, they can hear all the episodes with the bonus talking. And that's just an amazing deal. $3 for a whole month? I mean, come on. You can't get Netflix for that.
You can't.
Netflix is Netflix is expensive now. They charge I don't know exactly how much, but I think it's like $700-800 a month.
Yeah, I think that's a ballpark. That's a ballpark.
Yeah, I'm just estimating because I don't really know. I mean, we just use my father-in-law's Netflix login, so we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that publicly though.
Okay, yeah, we actually used my mother-in-law's for a while, but now we switched.
Why? Why do you have your own?
She uses ours.
Oh.
She uses ours. Okay. We just thought, it's about time we pay back because we're good people.
Yeah, we pitch in every once in a while.
Are you just saying that?
No, we have. I mean, okay. I think out of the 8 years or so that we've been sharing it, I think we paid for 1 year. That's enough.
Okay.
What's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? Disown us?
He could, I suppose.
I guess it's possible.
Greg, what are your hopes and dreams?
I just hope one day to really have a solid relationship with Kettis.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I don't really have an answer. What are my hopes and dreams? I mean, honestly, if I can be totally honest with you, my hopes and dreams are for me and my family and my friends and everyone that I know and love, that we have long, healthy, happy lives. That's really it.
That's boring.
I know. That's it. That's my actual answer. You didn't think I'd give you an actual answer, did you?
I was actually hoping you would give me an actual answer.
That's my actual answer. What are your hopes and dreams?
But that's basic. But
don't copy mine. What are your hopes and dreams? Don't you copy mine. You tell me what are your yours has to be something totally different.
Okay. I would like to go to Australia.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, that's honestly, it's not as good as mine.
No.
Because really mine could include going to Australia in the happiness section.
I know yours was very all encompassing. Yeah. But also kind of broad and vague.
I feel like it's specific enough. Health, happiness, long life, longevity, if you will.
Yeah, but that within that implies a lot of other things. Like, how do you find the happiness? How do you maintain the health and still the happiness? And
I'm not interested in the how. I just want the results.
Okay, how about this?
You
how
sound
are
like
your
you
hopes
sound like
and dreams?
Huh? Say that again.
How are your hopes and dreams?
How are they? So
Yeah.
far, going pretty well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was hoping you'd go into the how of it, but
No, I thought you meant like how are they doing? I thought you meant like, hey, how are your hopes and dreams going? You know how you say that when you just run into an old friend? You're like, hey, buddy, how are your hopes and dreams going?
I mean, I realize it sounded like that when I asked, but context, Greg, I want to know how are you maintaining happiness?
Do you know, can I just say, hey, buddy, how are your hopes and dreams going is the perfect question to ask at a high school reunion. Isn't it? You just show up, you haven't seen these people in 20 years, and you're like, so how are your hopes and dreams going? Because it'll either make them feel really good if they're going well, or it'll make them feel horrible if they've failed.
Yeah. Well, it also kind of depends on how you say it. Like, hey, buddy, how are your hopes and dreams going?
Do you know what really amazes me is when you go to a high school reunion and people are so far ahead of you at getting stuff done. Like I remember going to the 10-year high school reunion. We were only 10 years out of high school, and we were at the high school, and this one guy says, yeah, my 2 daughters now go to high school here. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is our 10-year high school reunion. He goes, yeah, I got 2 daughters going to high school here. Like, how did you do that? He goes, planning ahead, man, planning ahead.
Is that for real? Is that a true story?
It might have been 20 years.
Oh, okay, there it is. That actually really changes the story.
Yeah, but, it might have been the 20-year high school reunion.
The 10-year, the amount was actually the crux of the story, and
yeah.
Really,
I did that on purpose to make it interesting.
Yeah. So
maybe it was the 30-year.
Okay, that's even way less interesting.
Have you gone to your high school reunions?
We never had any. We haven't had any.
What? My high school has one every 10 years.
I grew up in a small town.
Mm-hmm.
I had a class of 70 people.
Oh my God! Wait, let me ask you something. Was John Mellencamp one of them?
Yes. Actually.
Okay. Yeah, because he sings that song about growing up on
different John.
Different John. Okay, yeah. There's a lot of John Mellencamp. You look up the name John Mellencamp in the dictionary, you're going to find a lot of them listed.
Yeah, for sure. He used to be John Cougar Mellencamp, the guy in my high school, but he dropped the Cougar.
Oh man, that is a weird coincidence because the famous John Mellencamp used to be John Cougar Mellencamp.
You're kidding, really?
Yeah, and before that, just John Cougar.
Okay.
You know, I appreciate when someone segues into their new name. You know, they don't just go for it.
What do you mean?
When they actually segue the change, you know, they're just it's not just like one day they're John Cougar and the next day like, oh, I'm John Mellencamp now. No. Yeah. They let you get used to it by releasing an album or two under the name John Cougar Mellencamp, and then they just drop the Cougar.
Yeah.
It's like when Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. First he was just The Rock, and then he was Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and then he drops The Rock, and now he's just Dwayne Johnson. And one of these days he's going to drop the Dwayne, and he's just going to be Johnson.
You think so?
Yeah.
That's the way it's going?
Yeah. Just be Johnson. Like he's going to be like, hey, did you see that new movie by Johnson?
You know, Johnson in some circles refers to the male organ. Yeah,
and that's why it's going to be so popular because what lady doesn't want to go see a movie starring Johnson?
Sure. Yeah, that seems like a terrible idea. Are you ever going to change did you ever change your name? Is Greg Benson your real name?
Greg Benson is my real name, and I know that a lot of YouTubers changed it. Like Tay Zonde is a completely fabricated name.
That's a weird name.
Well,
I mean, now that I think about it.
That's why he wanted a name that when you Googled it, you wouldn't come up with any other Tays and any other Zondes. Tay Zonde, you Google it and you just get him.
I like it. It's a really good name, and it never occurred to me that it could be fake. But now that I think about it, of course it's fake.
Completely fabricated name. Is Craig Benzine your real name?
Yes, it is my real name.
See, now that's what you and I have in common. We both are not afraid to use our real names. Phil DeFranco, totally fabricated name.
Is it?
Yep. Shay Carl. Carl's not his last name. Everybody knows his
I know.
last name's
Well, I know.
Butler.
I know that, but I didn't know Philip DeFranco.
Phil DeFranco
Sure.
is a fabricated name. They just
How do you know that?
Sometimes they just make up names. They're like, I'm gonna change my name.
And I feel like you can't, if you do it late, it's a little weird if you suddenly just, like, I still find it a little weird that Facebook is meta now. Like that.
Well, it's not. I don't believe in that. By the way, from now on, will you please call me Greg Benson Mellencamp? I'm trying to segue.
Okay.
I'm gonna.
Was that
Here's how
what
it's
this
gonna go.
conversation was all about?
It's gonna be Greg Benson Mellencamp, and then
Yeah.
I'm gonna change it to Greg Mellencamp, and then I'm gonna change it to Greg The Rock Mellencamp, and then I'm gonna drop
Okay.
then it's just gonna be The Rock Mellencamp, and then just be The Rock.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going the other way.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. I'm gonna. Eventually, it'll just be The Rock. That's what I'm going for. Oh my gosh,
Are you
I'm
gonna
still
be
coughing.
Oh, did you say you're soul coughing?
No. That's a band. I really enjoy that band, by the way.
Yeah.
Do you like that band?
I do, but I can't remember which song. There's the is Frustrated incorporated by them?
I couldn't tell
No.
you. I think you're thinking of Lips Incorporated, the band, and they sang Funky Town.
Okay. All right. That is exactly what I was thinking.
I know, because you and I have the same brain. I know that. This is a great pod. Can I just say this is a great podcast?
This is okay. We get 2 sections of Greg saying this is a great podcast now.
We really should be. We should be recording this.
We are too, and that's what's so good about it. Like that, the fact that we record it, we don't stop talking for a long time,
It's funny that you bring that up. That's one of the things that bugs me about podcasts. That when you listen to a podcast, they just don't stop talking, and every once in a while, don't you just go like, "God, guys, give it a rest," you know? Just
yeah.
give it a rest. Enjoy. Just embrace the silence.
Yeah, and I actually feel that way about our podcast sometimes. I do go back and listen to ours a little bit.
The only one I've listened to of ours was the first one because now that we had like 4 or 5 of them out, I'm like, well, I'll go back and I want to listen to one on the Apple Podcast app, which is, by the way, a horribly designed app. I hate the way that app is designed. And this is sponsored by Apple.
Okay.
Yeah. So thank you, Apple.
Wow, that's a huge sponsor. They don't sponsor things very much.
Yeah, they sponsor us. Yeah.
Wow, how much money are we getting?
$6. It's not very much.
Wait, so then, but is it going through the same channels we normally do? So are we losing a ton of money on it?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
it's costing us a few thousand. It's complicated the way it works. I don't really understand.
Maybe we should work with me. I should be the one working with sponsors, and
maybe because I don't feel like it's been working out that well the way I've been doing it.
Yeah. How? So we have how many agents?
We have 9 agents right now. I just hired 2 more this morning. We have 11 agents now.
Oh my!
So
why did you hire? Why did you feel that we needed more?
I felt we needed 2 more to oversee the work of the other 9 agents because I told them I hired these agents. I'm like, we're paying 90% to these other 9 agents, and I feel like they're not really doing their job. Can we hire you to oversee their work? And they're like, sure.
You know what you could do?
Yeah.
Instead of constantly adding things to the operation, you could consider, firing people or, getting rid of stuff.
Look, I am not in the business of putting people out of work. I think that's horrible that you would even suggest that. Don't you know we're going through a pandemic time? There are a lot of people unemployed by choice. People have been quitting their jobs.
Unemployed by choice?
Yeah, a lot of people have been quitting their jobs.
That's true.
Yeah. Which I think is fascinating. Isn't it fascinating we're in a time where people are quitting their jobs left and right?
It's interesting, but aren't people like coming back now? I just read an article about how Walmart had like too many people.
Well, there's always too many people at Walmart. That's why I don't shop there.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. I don't care for Walmart. I don't. By the way, this is sponsored by Walmart also. I want to thank Walmart for their sponsor. We have a lot of sponsors this week.
Well, probably because we have 11 agents. That's probably why we have so many sponsors.
That's what you get. They work hard. I mean, thank you to our agents. By the way, this is also sponsored by our agents. I want to give a shout out to our... Oh, wait a minute. I just got notification. We just got a 12th agent.
Oh my God.
We have 12 agents now. I want to give a shout out to our 12 agents.
Wait, who is hiring them? Did the other agents hire this agent?
I did give them power of attorney to hire more agents.
Oh, no. We're going to have an army of agents and a lot of debt.
Yeah. Well, listen, you either go big or go home. That's what I've always. That's a saying that I made up.
You know, when I randomly agreed to just do a podcast with you, all I have ever seen is just you and me doing this podcast.
Yeah.
And you have a whole big operation going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, I do.
Did you already have the agents before we started this podcast?
I had a couple of them. I had 4, 5, maybe 5 of the agents. I already had them.
But are these agents, do they work with you on other things or just this podcast?
No. They've all been, ever since I hired them, they're like, when are you going to make a podcast?
So that's it? Just the podcast?
Yeah. They're podcast agents.
How long have you had them? How long before you?
6, 7 years, something like that.
6, 7 years before you even had a podcast.
I know. And I've been paying them 50%, for the 6, 7 years.
50% of what?
Exactly. I don't even make 50%.
Yeah. Of what? 50% of what?
Exactly. I don't even make that much. So I couldn't even pay them that 50%. So I have owed them 50% for all these years.
I don't understand. They get 50% of
Look,
what you make.
Let me clarify this for you.
Okay.
You open a bank account. How much do you put into it? 10%, 20%? No, they want 50% into that account. So that's like an account that's supposed to have 50% in it already for them. Each month and every month you got to put 50% in there.
I don't think you know what a percent is. 'Cause percent of what? Like, is it a percent of your income?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You got to put 50% in there. I think we're both on the same page now. We both agree.
Just so you know, I never signed anything. So all the money stuff
I had them sign for you. I gave them power of attorney to sign for you.
That's illegal.
They've signed everything. But each of them only signed 10% of the signature because they're just 10% agents. So we have 12 agents now, so they've signed 120% of your signature.
I don't understand. You don't. Do you think a percent is just like an amount on its own?
I gotta say, this is the best podcast anyone has ever done ever. Why aren't there 1 million people listening to this podcast?
It takes time to grow an audience, Greg. We'll do it. We'll get there.
I just heard from Mark W. Gray. By the way, a little shout out to Mark W. Gray, who he texted me.
Professor Puppet.
Yeah, Professor Puppet. He texted me and said that he's been listening to the podcast. Hello, Mark. If you're still listening here on episode 6, he said that he left a review for us on, I guess, the Apple podcast. Somewhere online, he left some sort of review for us.
And I don't know what? I read it already.
I don't know if it was a good review or a bad review.
Oh, I know it. I know exactly what it was because I read it on this podcast.
Well, what is it? Maybe you should read it to me.
Then I'll have to go look it up. But I already did. Read it.
All right. Next thing you're gonna say, like on the next podcast, you're gonna say like, "Oh, I already said Kedis." No. I said Kedis.
No, I didn't already say that.
Well, anyway, I just want to say anyone who gives us a review. You're going to get a shout out on this podcast. Guaranteed, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely possible. It's absolutely possible.
Yeah, 100% possibly we might give you a shout out for sure. Maybe.
Yes. I am looking up the review. How do I find us on iTunes?
You don't?
Oh, I know what I do.
Does iTunes even exist still? I thought iTunes didn't exist.
Oh, or Apple Music, whatever. I go to anchor.fm/lettuceguys, and then you have a bunch of places where you can listen to the podcast.
Whoa.
And now I'm going to go to our review. Oh, we got a couple of reviews.
No way. Let's shout them out, maybe, possibly.
How do I? It's not letting me scroll.
Oh no, you can't scroll. Oh no, he's
scrollless.
Scrollless, folks.
No, I can scroll. It's just we have 2 reviews. That's all. So there's no more reviews, so I don't need to scroll.
2 reviews. One of them's from Professor Puppet.
Yes. So the other one is from C. Herms,
Oh my gosh, C. Herms. That probably stands for Chris. That's probably Chris Herms, or possibly Carly Herms.
Or Carl.
Carl?
Or,
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
Charles.
Or maybe Craig.
Oh, wow. Didn't think about that. That's weird because that's your name.
It's somewhat weird. Not really. But he said, just listen. You won't regret it. Podcast is best enjoyed whilst eating salad. And he's got a lettuce emoji and a salad emoji.
Whoa. Now that is someone who is committed to a proper review.
Maybe Committed is his name. Committed Herms.
Man. Wow.
Okay. Crisp yet, this is from Mark W. Gray. Crisp yet succulent. Remember Abbott and Costello's Who's on First? This is like that, but without the wit, wordplay, or comic timing. Strong recommend.
Now,
recommend.
That is a phenomenal review.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's complimentary and insulting.
Yeah, I know. It's very confusing. Like, you don't know if it's positive or negative, but
Yeah.
he did give it 5 stars.
It's like saying 5 stars. This is horrible. I hate it. It's highly recommended.
Yeah, go watch. You will love it. I hate it.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's an example of us reading reviews right here on this podcast.
You just never know what's going to happen on this podcast, but you are guaranteed a good time. And that brings an end to this episode of Two Guys
Talking about lettuce.
God. Talking about lettuce.
I mean, you paused a long time.
I know, but it was for dramatic effect. Thank you for listening, everybody.
You paused and you looked at me on the screen expectantly.
Yeah.
And then I said something. And
Okay.
You got upset.
Okay. Look, we could fight, but this is a terrible way to end an episode. If we're fighting, this is a terrible, terrible way to end an episode. Unless it's a fist fight. If we're actually in the same place sometime, because we're always doing this over Zoom. If we're in the same place and we fist fight, that would be a great way to end the episode.
Okay. I'm looking forward to punching you.
Thanks everybody for listening. We will catch you next week on Two Guys Talking About Lettuce. Once again, I'm Greg Benson.
I'm Craig Benzine.
And I'm Greg Benson.
And I'm Craig. No, thank you for listening.
And thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
If I can just say thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
That's it for the show. Catch you next week. I'm Greg Benson. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening.
Greg Benson.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm talking about lettuce.